Hello,
Hello, Mario.
where are you at the airport?
At the airport. Yes, sir. I'm waiting for my flight to wait a little
I
bit.
I thought so. It looks like a very modern place. When is your flight?
My flight is scheduled to be 11:25, but it's delayed so far.
Hmm.
So far, about half an hour, which is our time now is 9:30 a.m.
It's 9:30 in the morning.
morning. Yeah.
Surprise is not here yet.
What's after this year?
I don't know because he wrote 5:30 and then at the end he wrote of Cook.
Yeah.
So
So he's giving us year on a cook.
again, he gave two already. Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I remember a friend of mine when he used to go to Hong Kong. He told me he was able to leave on Friday, Hong Kong time, and still be in time for Shabbos.
Yeah, that's time is okay. It's just a question of the when you cross the date line,
Yeah,
uh, which is either Shabbos or not Shabbos. And what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing.
that's true. We had a share about the day the date line. You were
Yeah.
not coming. You were not in our group yet. He brought somebody from
Who gave
Israel.
the share? Ernie gave the share?
Hmm? Not
Ernie gave the
Ernie.
share?
No, somebody gave the share who's supposed to be an expert in
Yeah.
dateline. Right. Hello, Ernie.
Hello.
We have Abe at the
So,
airport
Hi,
in
Abe.
Hong Kong.
Wow. You're going to Hong Kong?
No, he's coming from Hong Kong.
Oh, coming from Hong Kong. Okay, great.
yeah. Baruch Hashem.
Okay, so we're on Samech Zion in the middle of the Mishnah. There's a debate between Rabbi Eliezer and Yoshua that if they do they're doing a chatas oaf, and they do the processing of a chatas ola, and vice versa, what's the din regarding Me'ila? So Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Vare Kotche Kotchim. They're examples of either an Ola, Chatas, and an Asham. Sheshachtam Bedorim. Normally, you're supposed to shech those in the north. Let's say you shech them in the south.
Mhm.
V'shachtam Hashem Kotchim Kalim. And you had in mind that they should be like a shlomim. So, Shekain Shina Eshmam Ladavar She'ein Bo Me'ila. Shlomim, there is no Me'ila. You can eat a shlomim. So you change their name to something that there is no Me'ila. Yet, Umualim Behem. Yet, chatas that was slaughtered in the south is puzzle, and therefore the Kohanim cannot eat it. So there is meila, even though you had in mind something that's not meila. So that's why afatal titoma ala oila. Don't be surprised that if you're processing an ola and afal pishushina shmola davar shein bo meila. Now you're thinking about a chatas, which normally doesn't have meila because you can eat it, but yishiyim aluba. But there should be meila in the original ola. Amala Rabbi Yeshua, no. Imamit b'kotche kotchim sheshachtem b'dor v'shachtem shem kotchim kalim shekein shina ishmol nedavar sheyesh bo isser v'heter. See, a kotchim kalim are unique in that they have parts of the animal that there is me'ilah. For example, the emurim that have to be offered to be burnt on the mizbeach. That is still hegdish, but the meat can be eaten. But if you switched an ola to a chatas, which is completely permitted, because now the meat of the chatas can be eaten, that therefore perhaps makes the din different. Gemara, Tanya. Amar Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yoshua. Ashram sheshachtu b'tzaf l'shem shlamim yochiyach. You take an ashram, you shecht it in the north, you have in mind that it should be a shlam. Sheshina Eshmo, you changed the name, and by the way, a shlamim, certainly a lot of it can be eaten, yet umoyalimbo. Vavatati tamal ola. Therefore, don't be surprised on the ola, sha'afal pi sheshina et shmo sheyimalubo, that even though you changed its name to something that can be used like a chatas, there still should be meila. Amar lo Rabbi Yeshua lo. Imamit ba'asham shemeshina shmo lo sheyesh makomo. Yeah, but the asham there was shechted in the north, where it's its normal place. We're talking about a case where the ola, you changed its name and you shechted them in a different location. Maybe a change in designation and location will remove me'ila. Amar Rabbi Eliezer. If you shechted an asham not in the north, where you're supposed to, but in the south, for the sake of a shlamim. So now you changed both. Shina shmo v'shina shmakomo, and yet mo'alimbo. Afatalti tama ala oila. Don't be surprised about the ola, that the same thing. Aval pisha shina shmo, you changed its name to a chatas. V'shina shmakomo, yeah, you shechted it in a different location and still mo'alimbo. Amar Rabbi Yoshua, no. Lo imamit ba'asham sheshina shmo v'shina shmakomo v'lo shina as ma'asav. Yeah. But the proper procedure in shechting the asham wasn't changed. Here, you changed how you process, right? An ola, that you have to cut both simonim. In our case, you're only going to cut one of the simonim. And Rabbi Eliezer doesn't respond. Amar Rava. Why didn't Rabbi Eliezer respond and say, Asham sheshachtu b'dom l'shem shlom b'shinu bailim? You shechted an asham in the south for the sake of a shlamim, for the sake of a different owner. Sheshina eshmo v'shina esmakomo v'shina esmaisav. The procedure is different because not doing it for the right bailim is a change in the procedure. Yet there's still me'ilah, and he could have said, so by the ola, don't be surprised that it's the same thing by the ola. And milo kamerle, from the fact that Rabbi Eliezer did not respond to Rabbi Yeshua this way, Shema Mina, Nachas Rabbi Eliezer at the time of Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Eliezer accepted the reasoning of Rabbi Yeshua. What's the real reason? Damar Vada Barava. Oimer Ayer Rabbi Yeshua. Oila Sa'oif. Sha'asal Lamata Kamasa Chatas. The Ola Sa'oif is supposed to be done everything above the line. If you did it below the line, and you use the chatas procedure, which is dividing only one of the pipes, not the two. Kivin shemalik bo simen echad, nimsheches v'nasis chatas. It immediately, once you divide one of the pipes, and you were below the line, it becomes a bird chatas. And Rav Ashi will explain to us later on. Well, a chatas ha'of that normally is processed below the line. If you process it below the line, does it also become like a bird ola? Once you divide one of the pipes, maybe you'll answer me that indeed is the case. That means my love, that means we only accept the first part, that an ola that was processed like a chatas becomes a chatas, but not vice versa. So the Gemara says, "Lo kachat shel kula mishnah." Really, It works both ways. That the bird ola that is offered as a chatas becomes a chatas, and the chatas that's offered like an ola becomes an ola. However, Rav Ashi says it's only by an ola, that if you process it like a chatas, it becomes a chatas. Bishma oila sof shetzolamata kamas a chatas l'shem chatas. If you do the processing below the line with the procedure of a chatas, and you have in mind a chatas, there's a technical reason why it becomes a chatas. A chatas only needs to have one pipe, either the esophagus or the trachea divided. Kiva d'ha'achsher b'simin echad, and v'ha'achsher b'shnei siman, and an ola, in order for it to be kosher, you have to divide both simanim. And ola sa'of lamata lesa, there is no proper process for a bird ola on the bottom. Kiva d'malak b'simin echad, once you divide one of the simanim below the line, it becomes a chatas ha'of. And a chatas ha'of that you try to make an ola above the line. So first of all, we've learned that malika anywhere in the mizbeach works, and therefore mechimolak b'simin echad ifsala. So if you have an ola and you did malika on one pipe above the line, it becomes a puzzle dikachatas. He did a complete act of chatas. He did a malika. It's not an act of an ola because you got to cut both pipes. And normally, if you do a chatas l'shem some other korban, it invalidates it. So it's now an invalid chatas. You can't wait until you divide the second pipe and make it an ola. You can't take an invalid chatas and make it a valid ola. Okay. Gufa. Let's evaluate this a little bit more carefully. You took a bird oil that you were supposed to do above the line, and you're supposed to divide it with dividing two pipes. But you took it below the line, and you had in mind it should be a chatas. Once you divide one pipe, it becomes automatically a chatas ha'of. However, the Gemara brings a machlokas to this, Toshma. When a woman gives birth, she has to bring two birds as an offering. One is a chatas, one in an ola. You have two women, both poor, so they can bring birds. And one of the women brought her ola, and another woman brought her chatas. So each one had an unfulfilled, and they didn't have enough money. So they joined their money. They bought a pair of birds. One is a chatas for one of the ladies and an ola for the other ladies. Chatas lezu v'ola lezu. That's how it was given to the Kohen. And now, the Kohen made a mistake. Asr shtein lamala. He offered both above the line, which would be olos. So there's no good chatas. Mechza chosher, mechza puzzle. Half is okay, right? The chatas is okay, but not the ola. If he shechted shtein lamata, same thing. Mechza kosher, mechza puzzle. The ola is good, not the chatas.
But Ernie, one question. The ola, he has to cut both simonim, right?
Correct.
And the chatas one. So if it's an ola, it means he cut both, so it's definitely an ola. Unless I'm wrong.
He processed them above as olos. He cut both of them. But remember, the moment you cut one of them, it becomes the chatas. You with me?
Yeah, but if you say
Chatas is supposed to be done above the line. Excuse me. Chatas is supposed to be done below the line. The ola is supposed to be done above the line. So he has two birds. He was supposed to do one above, one below. And he made a mistake. He did both above as an ola. So the ola is a good ola. Chatas is not a good chatas. So the woman doesn't get credit for the chatas. And if he does,
why is it a good ola if he only cut one simon?
No, he cut two simonim.
Oh, he did.
He processed both birds above the line and divided both simonim.
Okay, all right.
That's mechza kosher, mechza puzzle.
Okay.
Same thing if shtein lamata, if he processed them below and he had in mind they should be a chatas, and even if he only processed one of them, even if he only divided one pipe, that makes it kosher for a chatas. It would never be kosher for the nola.
Okay.
Still, mechza kosher, mechza apostle. Now, what if he processed one above and one below? Achas lamala as a ola, where he divided two. Achas lamala, one he did below as a chatas. Shten psulos. Shani oimer chatas kreva lamala v'oila kreva lamata. We take the worst case scenario. We say that it's the chatas that he offered above and the ola that he offered below, which invalidates both. Because it's possible that that's what occurred. Now, what's the proof? Nihinami de ola kreva lamata. In this last case, why are they both invalid? Fine. The ola might have been the one that was offered below, and then it's bad. But why not timshach v'tevei chatas ha'of? Based on what we're learning, once he divides one siman, let this ola bird that was done below the line become a chatas. So, gavra. That's when a coin is offering for the one person. The tre gavri miyamr, but not when he's doing it for two people. Torshma. Chatas for ola, ustuma umufareshas. Two women gave the coin. One gave a chatas and the other gave an ola. And then they gave an unspecified pair of birds. Asa kulun lamala. Let's say she had made an obligation. Let's say she had made an adava to bring a pair of birds, a chatas and an ola, and she had a chiyuv to do it because maybe she gave birth. So, Asa, if he offered all of them, thinking that they were all olos above the line, mechza kosher, mechza apostle, half would be okay. Kulan lamata, half of them will be chatases, mechza kosher, mechza apostle. If he divided half and he did half above and half below, chetzin lamala v'chetzin lamata, einek shera elastuma. Only the unspecified pair would be okay because they haven't been specified for a particular, type of korban. Whatever kavanah the Kohen had would work for them. U'mischak and b'neim, they divided. Now, ilu mufaroshin, the ones that were specified, is not good. Vamai. At least let the ola that was offered below, the same kasha we asked before, you made a rule that if you offer an ola below the line and you think that it's a chatas, let it be a chatas. Maybe that mishnah is not according to Rabbi Yoshua. How can you say that? Torshma. A woman says, I'm going to bring a pair of birds if I give birth to a boy. So Yalda Zachar Mavir Shtei Kinim. She has to fulfill her neder and bring a pair. Achas Lenidra, which is a neder is just olos. You only bring a chatas for an obligation. Now, one of the fact that she gave birth, she has to give two korbanos, a chatas and an ola. Achas l'choivasa. Now, Nasan l'kohen. What is remember? So there's 3 olos and 1 chatas. What was the Kohen supposed to do? Kohen tzarech la'asos and sholosh l'mala v'achas l'mata. 3 olos above, one bird below for the chatas. Lo asakin, if he made a mistake, and also shtayim l'mala ubeis l'mata, he did 2 above and 2 below. V'lo nimlach, and didn't really ask her why she was bringing 2 pairs of birds. She has to bring 1 more bird and offer it as an ola above. Right? The chatas ola pair that was offered by the Kohen initially was in order to fulfill the obligation for giving birth. The second was only supposed to do the 2 donos ola, but one of them was a chatas. So he has to bring another bird for the nola. Mimin echad. Assuming that the 2 first pairs were, let's say, the same types of bird. But in Mishnei Minim, if there were 2 types of birds, well, you don't know which is it, so you have to be Tavishtayim. She has to bring 2 birds as a nola. Now there's a more complicating factor. Pirsha Nidra. Let's say she had specified her neder, and that they should be either turtle doves or pigeons, but she forgot, and she brought both pairs. Tzrichelavi od gimel fredim. She has to bring 3 more birds of olos, mimin echad, from one type, if the first pair were one type. Umishnei minim tavidalet. If the original pair were 2 types, then she has to bring 4, because we won't know what the original. And now there's a 4th factor, kava nidra. If she made a neder that she would bring her neder korbanos at the same time with her childbirth offering, she doesn't have to. But kava nidra now becomes more complicated. We'll continue this tomorrow. Tomorrow back to the normal time.